Alright, so we have just cut up all of our four sides, and now we need to cut the angle, which is actually the miter of these sides. First thing is raise that blade up as high as you can get. Come over to this little box here where I keep the angle finder. Get that thing out of there and put it on the table. Well, I guess turn it on first. And then put on the cast iron and set it. Right now it says 0, perfect. But I always, no matter what, I still 0 it again, reset it. Then I'll stick that onto it's a magnet, so I'll stick it onto the blade. And over here on the left side of the table is that tilt wheel. That will tilt that blade all the way down to 45 degrees. So let's get that tilted. And that will kind of go quickly here, right down to 45. I'm trying to get it as exact as I can, and I might as well get it exactly 45.0. There we are. Okay. Take that thing off, put it back, and now we can lower this blade because right now it's just too high. I only used that blade height just so I can get the angle, but I can actually now lower it to the appropriate height. And we can put that sled over there. It should slide right through because basically that's how I made that groove, was by tilting it first. Let's get the wood next to it, make sure it's the right height that's going to cut through that whole piece. I don't want to go too much above it. Just enough to cut through, maybe a little bit extra. That looks good right there. Okay, so I think I have these 4 pieces here. All I need to do really is get one side cut. The way you're going to do that is position it and just kind of slide it till that wood is right at that corner, maybe a little bit past, but not much past. Like even that's almost too much. I don't need to go that far, just enough that's going to be cutting in within that groove. And I want to just keep a nice firm grip. I don't need to do a stop block here. Just holding it. But what I'm checking right now is the top side when you're cutting is going to be the outside of the box. So pick the nicer side to be up top, and that's what's going to be exposed on the outside of the box. If it's messy on the inside, doesn't really matter. You want to have the outside nice. Okay, I'll do the same thing to the other pieces here. So let's go ahead and actually make these cuts. I'm going to do the pallet wood first, I think. Again, I'm not really using any kind of stop block. I'm just going to cut up one angle on one side. I'll worry about the length of them later on. Okay. The saw is turned on. Nice, easy cut. Minimal little piece I'm cutting. Scrap that piece in the scrap box immediately. Don't even leave it on the table. Just scrap it. Get the next one. Again, I'm making sure that the nicer side is up top because that's what's going to be on the outside of the box. Go ahead and finish up the rest of these 2 sides here. Double checking always that there's not some kind of like sawdust or some little wood chip that's blocking it on the sled, and otherwise you're going to get some weird angle. There is a lot of little chips that kind of block things. I'm also trying to get the wood on the straighter side so it doesn't wobble. Okay, all 4 sides are cut. And that one is just going to be, again, just kind of freely cutting the one end. Now I'm going to bring in the stop block because I want to get these all exactly the same size. Okay, I cut the one side of all 8 pieces for the 2 boxes, but now I have to actually make them the exact size, and in that case I don't feel like measuring. It's just much quicker just to use a stop block and a clamp. Okay, so kind of position the wood where you think it's going to be a good distance. I'm flipping it around the same exact, that angle should be down. I'm going to put my stop block right there, where I know it's going to be cutting through that wood at the corner, and I'll just clamp it on there right now. Okay, and good. Once I get one of them cut, if I'm making a square, I can do all 4. If I'm making a rectangle, I'll just have to do one adjustment for that fence. I'm not for the fence, but for the stop block, but that's easy. Okay, saw's turned on. Turning on the vacuum, pushing up against that fence. You can see how I hold my fingers. Let me get the camera in a little better angle for you. There we are. Okay, pushing it through, one hand pretty firmly holding that piece of wood up against the fence and against that stop block and holding it down. The other hand, you can't really see, but it's holding the other side of the fence or the sled, just helping push it through. Okay. So these are going to be for the oak box. This will be a rectangle. So these 2 sides will be finished. And now I'm going to adjust that stop block cut the other two pieces. You can tell that they're identical, those long pieces at least. Let's bring over the shorties. I'm going to loosen this up, slide over that stop block again. Only takes a minute, not even a minute, only takes maybe around 20 seconds to adjust this. I'm doing it one-handed. You guys can even do it quicker. I'm trying to hold the phone and everything else. So again, it's going to be cutting just barely over. Looks good. Let me just tap this a little bit. There we go. Okay, that should be making a full diagonal cut. Tighten that clamp. Good. Put the camera back in its little clamp. And we are good to cut this piece. So this is a smaller piece, as I'm sure you can see. But as long as you're holding it steady, holding it tight, a nice slow cut, you'll be good. Okay? I'm keeping my hands away from that blade, but I'm also holding it firm. I don't want to kind of twist that wood. I want to hold it flat against that fence. Double checking there's nothing in there. Obviously, it looks like a little piece of wood got stuck. Got to knock that out of there and make the cut. Okay, don't go too far past that blade. Just enough to cut it, bring it back. That's how I always do it. Turn off that vacuum. Nobody needs to hear that noise. Okay, so once you're all done, it should be a nice mitered box, at least the frame of it. Don't need to put the box, or the top and the bottom aren't in yet, but at least the sides are cut and they're tight. Okay. So I said these were 4-inch pieces, what I cut to, but actually the inside of the box is going to be significantly less than 4 inches. That's the outside of the box. So just be aware of that whenever you're cutting. Okay, let me go ahead and cut these other pieces from the pallet wood. I already have one side cut. I'm just going to use a stop block again and cut them all to the same. I think in this case I ended up using just a square. I just made all of them 8 inches rather than a rectangle. So I kind of set that stop block again, just adjust it and make my cuts. Alright, saw is on. Double checking and make sure the nice side is up top. Go ahead and make these cuts. This is a little bit higher speed, double the speed actually. But in reality I'm going pretty slow and steady. I'm not trying to race through here. Keeping my hands away from that blade, making sure that sled is pulled all the way back, so even if you do drop a piece of wood or something, it's not really going to fall into the blade because it's blocked by the sled. Okay, all these are the same, looking good. Turn off that vacuum, and we are ready to now cut the top and bottom.